Hello, hello, hello. Assalamu alaikum. Ji ayanu pakhair ragale, ni hao, chune shumme, washmale, ohaya gonzaimis, guten morgen, hola, bonjour, privyet, kaifa hal, halashama chatore, ahlan wasalan, marhaba, buna, and a very amazing good morning to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and are watching World this morning alongside the one and the only Shahzad Ehsan Khan. I'm very glad, ladies and gentlemen, that you have tuned in. Today, the day is Monday. The date is 26th of November, 2018. But before I get started, there's a simple message for everybody who's out there, and that is that it's time to rise and shine, wake and bake, get up, and be more focused about whatever you want to achieve in life. And I think that a lot of times people fail because of the fact that they do dream about what they want to be, but it's harder for them to break it down into different smaller pieces and achieve them year by year so that they finally reach towards their destinies. So, ladies and gentlemen, life is very simple. All you have to do is have contentment within your own self, and I think everything's going to be great. Now, coming back to the fact that it's 26th of November, so I'm going to take you back to 1964 when for the very first time Pakistan television actually went on air. So happy birthday Pakistan television. You've given us a lot of legends. Legends like Muin Akhtar, legends like Allan, legends like Hasina Muin, legends like Bushra Ansari. So I think all of those people who are on private channels these days, PTV played a role of an academy for all of them, for all of the directors, for all the founders, for all those people who are out there, for people who are still working with PTV, people who used to work with PTV. Congratulations to all of you, and we've come a long way, and inshallah, we've definitely got a longer way to go. And PTV is definitely, PTV always has emerged and has kept a market for families out there as well. I think when I was a kid, back then, before going to school, I can still remember that Mustansar Tara Hussain Saab actually used to do a show, and I used to watch cartoons on them, and I used to get late every morning. So my mother actually banned me from watching television early in the morning too as well, because there was, but I think that was the most interesting era. And for the kids who are watching PTV these days, I think you've got so many other avenues to do so as well. But other than that, I think PTV has always emerged as a family, complete family entertainment channel, and we wish Pakistan television best of luck. Well, okay, so, and what you can do is probably you can write to us on our Facebook fan page, which is with the name of World This Morning, and let us know how you feel about Pakistan television's birthday today. So this is one thing. Now, coming down to what we're going to discuss today. So the topic is very interesting for me, and it's interesting for me because I'm a father myself. So, ladies and gentlemen, there was this exhibition at Centaurus Mall in collaboration with the Sweden Embassy, and then there's this NGO Shirakat. And what they did was that they came up with the concept and they titled it Pakistani Papas. Now, for anybody, if you're going to read it for the very first time, Pakistani Papas, you might have a very different picture in your head. It's because of the fact that, when I was a kid, I could. So we definitely have the exhibition. It was all about different pictures and portraits where the father and the mother both are actually busy nurturing and looking after their kids. And I think this is what they are trying to depict too as well over here, that it is very important for the mother and the father to probably work together within the house as well, and then going out to earn some bread. Now, these are the things which we'll definitely be talking about, but I just want to give you a brief information of how probably things were back in 1980s and 1990s. So I'm a product of late 1980s. I so wanted to say 1990s, but it's all right. So what I saw was that at that time, Pakistan was developing. Obviously, people didn't have access to a lot of information or technology. So for me, I mean, it's a very generic statement to make, but for me, what I think that fathers over here in Pakistan have always been busy winning bread rather than going back home or helping their spouse in the household chores as well, or probably looking after the kids. I mean, it is very, back in those days, it was very rare watching your father to change somebody's pampers. And I belong to an era where there were no pampers in Pakistan. So I think things were getting dirtier back then. But now, ladies and gentlemen, things are changing. Why did they come up with the concept? First of all, these are the few things which we'll definitely be asking them. And then at the same time, disseminating information or making people aware of the fact that we, probably the mother and the father, share equal responsibility when we talk about looking after your kid, looking after the house, or winning the bread. So, we're not going either way that, only, looking after the kids. It's all about winning the bread for both the parents too as well. So we'll definitely be talking about that. And for that, we've been joined by some very amazing guests. On my right hand side, ladies and gentlemen, I've been joined by the Swedish ambassador to Pakistan, Her Excellency Ingrid Johansson. Hello, how are you? Assalamu alaikum.
Good morning.
Thank you very much.
And congratulations to everyone at PTV.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much once again. And moving on, ladies and gentlemen, alongside Her Excellency, we have been joined by the Executive Director, Shirakat, Partnership for Development, Ms. Bilkis Taira. Hello, ma'am. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Walaikum assalam. I'm fine.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
It's lovely to have you. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the superstar over here sitting right next to Ms. Bilkis. And she actually participated within the exhibition alongside her father. And she's none other than Miss Amna. Hello, how are you?
How are you?
I'm absolutely perfect. What about you? How do you feel today?
I spent time with Papa.
You spent time with Baba, and do you like your Baba the most or do you like your Mama the most? I know it's a tricky question, and you can say both. So who do you love the most? Baba or Mama? Okay, she's going to take her time. I think this is a question I shouldn't be asking in the first place too as well. Okay, but alongside Miss Amna, we have, ladies and gentlemen, been joined by Miss Amna's proud father as well, who actually participated in the exhibition. He's none other than Mr. Abdullah Khan. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
So, Walaikum, thank you.
Sir, thank you very much for joining us. It's all right. You sit back, we'll manage. I think it's lovely to have Miss Amna over here on the show, who's very chirpy and very fresh early in the morning. But, ma'am, I'm going to get the conversation started with you. So, whose concept was it? And why do you think that there was a need for such an exhibition to take place?
Need or no need, we thought it was interesting.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Quite simply. And the background is, the concept is actually a Swedish one. There was a young father who was also a photographer who started to take photos of himself when he was had paternity leave with his young child. And that became quite a well discussed and talked of show in Sweden.
Okay.
So this has been traveling the world, and we thought that we understood that the same sort of discussion is going on here a little bit about what is the role of the papa, what is the role of the father, and we got various answers depending on who we were talking to, and realized that there's something going on in Pakistani society, and maybe we can help to just bring that to the surface a little bit in a nice way, in a sort of engaging and welcoming and positive way. So that's the background.
I think that's great too as well. But you just mentioned that whenever you were in conversing or you were in conversation with anybody over here in Pakistan, so you got some different views about what's the responsibility of a papa over here in Pakistan or a baba. I mean, we have different names for that. So what kind of views did you got? Can you share some as well?
Well, everything from a sort of a very traditional view that the father's role is mainly outside the household and the responsibilities, to the quite opposite. No, that we have a role to play. It's very important that both parents connect and bond with the children. It's good for their emotional development. It's also good for the family. It strengthens the family. So the whole range.
Exactly. I think that's great too as well. And ladies and gentlemen, since the time that we have actually moved into nuclear family systems where everybody is living independently, I think that we've actually lost control over all of those values and morals which we had from back in 1970s and 80s or 90s, where people used to sit down together. Because I think it's not just papas as well. It's about your grandfather, your grandmother, and the entire family. It's about totality. So I'm going to move on to Ms. Bilkis over here. So because your NGO is actually collaborating for the entire exhibition. So what's your take on this one, Pakistani papas? And you can definitely let us know about the time when you and your papa had a very stronger bond, and how were things back then?
Beginning with our, collaboration. Shirakat has been working for the past 13 years on changing mindsets in society, because achieving gender equality, which seems a big word, but what we mean by it is, equal opportunities, equal access and control of whatever resources are out there, and you know, sharing of
So
responsibilities.
equal responsibilities.
Yeah, equal responsibilities as well. So we have been working with fathers in the community, and the way it began was we were working with women, providing leadership skills to women, talking to them about women's rights and etc., and how to have a harmonious family. And when the women went back home and began talking about, you know, why girls should get educated, etc., they were really looked down upon by the family. And they said, oh, Shirakat has corrupted you, so, you know, what are these strange ideas that you are coming up? So we asked women to identify men in their families with whom we could work and to change these mindsets. And these were people who would support them in the families then. When they came up with these, you know, funny and strange and untraditional, non-traditional ideas. So we got a group of about, we have been working with a group of about 300 men from Pakistan, from Rawalpindi and Islamabad. And these are all from low-income families where, you know, traditions are most entrenched. I'm not saying traditions don't cut across the class, but, you know, it's a matter of survival with community support if you conform to the stereotypical things.
Exactly.
And men have had, you know, generally welcoming but also cautious attitude towards this. Because they are scared that they will be called Zanmurid. They will be looked down upon in the family if they have a closer relationship. There's no doubt that, you know, fathers love the children, and we ask people that we work with, men particularly, to go down the memory lane like you were doing a minute ago. And see what was their relationship with their father particularly.
Exactly.
Because Mamta is very celebrated, but what about, we don't have...
Father,
We don't even have an Urdu word for fatherhood, you know. Do we call it Bapta? I don't know. So this is, you know, when they go down, of course, all fathers love their children, and they're taking these responsibilities of their bringing up very, very seriously. However, the link, the joy that a mother gets from sharing moments with the child is not what the men get. And this is a traditional, you know, stereotypical social construct.
So are we trying to actually get rid of the fact that people will still be calling you with different names over here, which is a dilemma? But are we educating them about that it doesn't really matter if people call you with different names as far as your family's intact and everybody is living in harmony?
Yes, and this is not what, you know, Shirakat is telling them. We go through a process of self-reflection. And they bring up their, you know, ideas and their stories from their childhood and the way they would have liked it to be a stronger bonding with their fathers. And men particularly in adolescence really miss that, you know, really miss that feeling of bonding. Because they have to go for advice to their peers who are as knowledgeable or as ignorant about these issues that they are. And so for them initially, it's a kind of strange idea. But they have come back and shared with us the pleasure and the joy and the harmony and better communication that it creates within the families when they are more involved in childcare.
Exactly. Let me just move on to Mr. Abdullah over here. So you participated in the exhibition. First of all, how was your experience? Yeah, you're here too. Obviously, you're my most special guest over here today. Yeah. See, I'm making her smile, and I love it. So Abdullah Sahab, you know, you participated, share your experiences.
Yeah, sure. You know, I got to know from my wife. You know, she told me there's a social media competition, you know, launched by the Sweden Embassy in collaboration with Shirakat. And, you know, I was excited about it. So, you know, we submitted a photo and we got selected. And here we are.
Yeah.
So the whole concept revolves around.
So let me check with my producer if we have their pictures. So if we can share their pictures, that'll be great. And ladies and gentlemen, the exhibition actually depicts the parents sharing responsibilities with each other as well. So please continue. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So basically, this whole concept revolves around the parents' role. It's really very important for
Yeah.
parents to understand
Wow.
that that parents' perception of their role are not only affected by their own developmental experience, changes, and needs,
Exactly.
but by also changing of their developmental changes and needs
It's all
of
right.
their
It's all right. Let her
children,
do what she wants to do. Yeah.
the children. So children as infants, they have different needs. They need continuous care. But as they grow up, their developmental need, parental needs that change
Yeah.
with time. So as a parent of an infant, they spend a great deal of time taking care of the child, tending to their children by feeding them, diapering them, cuddling them, and holding them.
Yeah.
Wow, what an experience! So but by the time when they become toddlers and
Or probably this
preschoolers,
old.
yeah, and preschoolers,
Yeah.
their parental or developmental needs that changes. So parents increasingly focus their efforts towards guiding them, encouraging them, and supervising their exploration.
Yeah.
So another thing that's very important that they focus on their physical development, having them play and exercise so they can become an active role model.
Yeah.
And also on their social development by having positive conversation with them, and through which they can teach them that how to communicate, negotiate, and compromise, and be compassionate to others.
How to live your life amazingly. But now
Absolutely.
there's one more thing. Obviously, when you're a father, I can understand it. And then there's nothing more important to you than your kids, obviously. I'm sorry if my parents are listening to as well. But, but now talking about that, obviously, you participating in this exhibition is definitely very amazing and different. But for the people who surround you, might call you with different names now as well, or probably they were calling you with names before the exhibition too. So how do you combat with that? And I think that you are the right person, or you will be the person who will actually educate other men out there that it doesn't really matter if people call you with names as far as you have a good relationship back home.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, this is the whole idea
I thought you
behind
were going
this.
to say you were absolutely right, but you didn't. Okay, go ahead.
This is the whole idea behind this program.
Yeah.
Because you have to defy the social norms. Traditionally, women have been seen as a caregiver, and the husbands have been seen as sought to provide financial support to their families.
Yeah.
But you see, women have come the long way. Society have come the long way, and you see women as leaders and
Exactly.
in professional fields, and another thing that as a married couple you are a unit, so you have to make your decisions and distribute your roles.
Yeah.
And it's very important to understand that you have a happy married life, and you have to contribute in daily chores and all other daily stuff.
Oh,
So
no, I'm glad that you have actually connected the word happy with married life too. As well. On a lighter
definitely.
note. But I want to move on to Her Excellency
Sure.
over here. Now, I want you to go back to Sweden and let us know how men behave over there.
There's the whole range, obviously. But I think in terms of
The family systems.
equal parenting, I think we've come a little bit further along the way. There's been a steady process since I grew up, actually, in the 70s, to promote that. And that's done through making sure that there's access to childcare, that both parents need to work in Sweden. That's the reality.
Okay.
The household economy depends on it. So you have to have these type of other arrangements.
Yeah.
And obviously you need to share responsibilities also around the house, because we don't have either household staff or anything like that.
Yeah.
We're a do-it-yourself
Exactly.
people.
DIY.
And so it becomes very real. Who's going to cook? Who's going to clean? Who's going to do laundry? All this type of things. So I think we come a long way, and we do have a system that is quite unique, and that is that we have paid paternal leave.
Yeah.
Up to 12 months, as long as the child is under 6 years old, and that's for both parents. They
For both
have,
parents? Wow,
yeah,
that's
no,
great.
not at the same time, but
Yeah.
they can both sort of benefit from it. So it's very, very common that you share, like you take a few months each.
And then there might probably be, daycares within the offices too as well, where probably, parents
Yeah.
can facilitate themselves and leave the child over there and not to worry about whether their child's going to get molested or something other than
Yeah.
that, God forbid. So these issues are real over here.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, now how do you think that we need to address these issues? Because over here in Pakistan, things work differently, and we all know it.
Let me begin with the previous question
Sure.
that you asked. You said, what was my relationship with my father?
Yeah.
Briefly, I was the blue-eyed baby
Okay.
of my father, and somehow we connected very strongly. And he gave me the confidence. Believe me,
Yeah.
if I'm sitting here today, it's because of him.
Wow.
The second point that I wanted to make was, you were saying how do then men handle
Yeah.
these criticisms that come to them? We at Shirakat have had counseling sessions for them. It's serious.
Okay.
Because it's their acceptance in the family that begins being eroded when they come up with these ideas.
Yeah.
Like, men from Rawalpindi and Islamabad have worked on sexual harassment, have stopped in their families, have stopped early and forced marriages. Some of them have had their khalas, aunts going to college
Yeah.
who wanted to study. So of course they get a lot of criticism
Exactly.
from the extended family, and they have to learn to handle that. Sometimes it gives you a lot of stress.
Yeah.
So we have had regular counseling sessions with the men and made their support groups so that they can talk amongst themselves.
So what did you
From the
talk?
same mohalla,
So what did you talk with them in between your counseling sessions? What did you tell them? Did you convince them that if anybody's going to probably call you with a bad name, or because of the fact that you're actually helping at your house, what did you tell them? Not to feel anything, or probably just feel proud of your own self, own it. What did you tell them? I want you to
Well-
tell that to all my viewers who are out there.
Okay. Well, we actually don't tell them anything. As a group, they come together and they discuss amongst themselves what is the situation that they are facing. They share with each other what they've been doing and what are the strategies, some of the strategies that have worked or not worked. So the solution is within them. We are working on the self. So it's, reflecting on yourself, looking at what are the barriers that you yourself are creating for your own good and for your family's good and for your children, and how can you change them. So it's really a self-analysis, self-reflection,
Yeah.
and they together support each other. We don't have ready-made answers for changing mindsets.
Yeah.
It's a long-term process. It may take 20 years to really change the society where there is acceptance around this,
Yeah.
where the mother-in-law, who herself is a product of social construct,
Exactly.
can accept the fact that her son is, supporting the family in household chores, is making time for the woman to go out of the home and work,
Yeah.
or work at home productively. So how does it's, a lot of, in the world, a lot of unpaid domestic work is on women, and particularly in childcare. Research tells us that 2 to 10 times more time is spent by women in unpaid domestic work than men do.
Yeah.
And that when men share that responsibility, it could provide time for self-growth, self-development to women. It could make for a more happy family,
Yeah.
more harmonious family.
Yeah.
And you know, when you were talking about paternity leave,
Yeah.
there are some organizations in Pakistan that have provision for that paternity leave, but it's only for a few days. You know, what do you?
Thank you very much for saying that. But now I've got a very interesting point, and Mr. Abdullah, you can add to that too as well, and Amna, you can definitely help us with that. And that is that I think for mothers, when they get their sons married, I think they have to play a key role in letting their sons know, as in what their role should be or needs to be. Because I think when their sons get married, they have a different perception of how his life is going to be, and when their daughters get married, they have a different perception for their son-in-law. So these two different expectations and two different levels, I think it's a challenge. So, Mr. Abdullah, we'll start with you, and then we'll come back to her answer.
Yeah, obviously, in my opinion, when a person get married, especially the sons, for them it's sort of a overhaul of the relations.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is where the role of the parents come into play. They have to develop such understanding, so the children would understand, what it takes to make this relationship successful, and as well as carry along other relationship like parents, other relatives.
No, but this is not what I'm trying to say over here. What I'm trying to say over here is that, when a mother gets their son married, she definitely wants to have a very different relationship in between her son and the daughter-in-law. But when she gets her daughter married, she wants to have a very different relationship. She wants to see a very different relationship in between the son-in-law and her own daughter. So why do you think that there is this variation in between the relationships, and why do we think like that? I think we need to change the mindsets of the generations before us to get to the point. Do you want to add to that?
I think that's a very important aspect of this. I think we should have maybe a photo exhibition called Pakistani in-laws or something like that, because I really believe that if a couple is really working towards equal parenting, I think there is a possibility that the mother-in-law or the in-laws feel a little bit excluded.
Yeah.
It changes their role in the family.
Exactly.
So I think it's very important to sort of address that and include them. And I also think it's important for the older generation to understand that the society that their children is facing, and also with raising their children, it's different. It's evolving, and so parenting also needs to evolve.
Exactly. Thank you very much for saying that. But with that, Amna, I need to ask you a question. Please make sure that you hurry and you sit right next to your dad and you can speak in the mic. Come on. So I want to ask, oh yeah, over there in your Baba's hand, okay? Just very quickly go. So I want to ask you, for how long do you play with your daddy in a day's time? Okay. So what do you play with your daddy?
I spend time with your papa, and I do swimming with Virginia, and I go to park, and I did exercise. And I did barbecue with that.
Wow, barbecue.
And
Did you save some for us?
and I did barbecue from dark. And I did exercise with Vizani.
Yeah.
And I go to Master Casting Caddy, and then I go to Centaurus Mall.
Wow.
And I meet Hinai in Centaurus Mall. And I go to TV station, and
You help Baba do the laundry, and
I go to Punjab Casting Caddy.
you help Baba
Thank
cook
you.
and all that.
Okay, so you okay. So now this is what you do with your Baba, right? What do you do with your Mama Jani? He's your Mama Jani as well? Okay, so I think, ladies and gentlemen, even this relationship is not going very, equally as planned. But I think probably we need to actually invite Amna's mother too over here on the show too as well. She's all over the place. She's running, so never mind, if you see us right in front of the camera. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go for a short break. But when you guys are going to come back, I'm going to actually ask Her Excellency over here that how can we ensure equality within the genders who definitely happen to be parents. Okay, let's do that. Good morning. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for everybody who just got tuned into
got a
PTV
buzzer
World. You're
stuck.
watching World this morning alongside Shazad Khan and me over here, right on the rug right now, ladies and gentlemen. We have Miss Amna as well. But we were in conversation with Her Excellency, and before going towards the break, there's this one last thing which I wanted to ask, and that was that how are we going to make sure that there's gender equality within parenting?
I'm not sure I have the
A complete
perfect
answer.
answer
Yeah,
to
yeah.
that. But it makes me think of a young parent a young papa that I met recently, and I put the question to him a bit provokingly, like, "Do you feel less of a man because you change diapers?" And he looked at me like very surprised. Would I ask a question like that? And he said, "No, I have grown as a person. And I think my family has benefited."
Yeah.
And I think if we just a little bit more open-minded and just realize that this is happening, and it's not binary, it's not either or. It's about
Exactly.
exploring your role a bit.
Yeah. And are we going to see such exhibitions moving to probably Lahore, Karachi, and
Yes,
elsewhere in
we
Pakistan?
want to bring this photo exhibition around the country because the papas and the children are from all over the country.
Yeah.
So we want to bring the exhibition back to them.
And next time I'm going to participate too as well. This is a promise too
Yeah.
as well. And Miss, what would be your closing remarks?
We were talking about, two things very,
Yeah.
very quickly. One, responsibility of mothers-in-law or mothers
Yeah.
in changing, in their expectations in changing relationships.
Exactly.
I think the key here is the power that men hold in all areas
Yeah.
within the household, etc. So when another person comes in, Bahu comes in, that power is being shared, and there is no space
Okay.
to do that.
Yeah.
Secondly, I would say things are changing now, but when we were young, fathers were like strict disciplinarians with a danda, you know. Yeah, they have to keep everyone in line, etc. And children were really scared of them in our own household, you know. The moment the father comes in, children start hiding. And it was the same in other families as well.
Exactly.
Fortunately, now I see with young generation that,
different.
that attitude is changing. And the change is very welcome because it enhances harmony in the family.
Exactly.
And generally makes happy lives.
Exactly. Very nice. Mr. Abdullah, what would you say to your wife on this occasion?
I would say thank you. Thank you for taking me as I am. But I'd like to deliver a message to the fellow papas as well. Because taking care of a child and sharing your responsibility with your spouse and other family members will make you a perfect person.
Wow, thank you very much for being with us. It was lovely to be in conversation. Amna, we're going, so say bye-bye, okay? When I'm going to tell you to do bye-bye, you're going to do bye-bye. Put the glass on the side of your sofa. So for all those people who are out there, ladies and gentlemen, this was our initiative to actually promote the Swedish Embassy's initiative where they wanted to educate the Pakistani papas. And I think when you're a papa, you'll probably understand how amazing or how superb you feel when you spend time with your babies. And please make sure that you do not actually put your head into as in what people might think. And I think half of the lives are ruined because of the fact that people think what people are going to think. So you think what you're going to do, and I think that's the best thing to do as well. So please do write to us on our Facebook fan page, which is with the name of World This Morning. On Twitter, it's World This Morning without a G. On Daily Motion and YouTube, it's World This Morning. The fabulous repeat is going to be at 11 p.m. tonight. Till the next time, 1, 2, 3. Good morning. Say good morning. Come on, say good morning.
भी तरक्की करेगा और हम कोशिश करेंगे कि बाकी स्पोर्ट्स को भी मौके फराहम करें।
एक और जो रिश्ता पाकिस्तान का बैरून मुल्क पाकिस्तानियों से बांधता है वो है पीटीवी ग्लोबल, और इस वक्त